to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 207. Exclusives here, exclusives there, but none to actually see. With me, George, and this week joined by RGT, stood to my studded couch. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, George.
You're now part of the 4K empire, so you and Seb have got your thing going on, the hostile takeover of the show.
Oh yeah, we've got big plans. So.
None of which include me, which concern me a little bit.
There's a little place for you. I mean, we always need a cleaner. We always need someone to make tea.
I asked you off air where you think where you see the show in 5 years, and your main part of that dream, which did include scantily clad models, which I thought was a little edgy.
Why? What was that?
I don't know. I just personally don't see women as accessories. I see them as people with feelings. Okay. And as part of your fantasy, I'm cutting the grass on minimum wage.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, it's a job for you. I don't know why you get so disappointed. I'll make sure you've always got employment.
I mean, I think your generosity...
Maybe be a bit grateful.
Oh, I am. So, I am. For every opportunity you deliver to me.
Yeah.
Let's get stuck into the weeds. How's your week been?
Very busy, but yeah, very good. Very productive. How about you?
Yeah, good. I mean, let's say it now. The early adopter scheme is closed. Thank you to everyone that got involved. Been blown away by that.
Yeah, cheers, everyone.
If you've been a long-time fan of the show, this is our way of paying you back and also saying thank you for being an early adopter, which is going to help us launch the full tier system. So stay tuned for news next week on about how that's going to work. But obviously those early adopters, we're going to start collecting details from you, shirt sizes, your favourite episode. So which we're going to record obviously on cassette to you, put it in your early adopter box. How's it going with all the collecting of the associated goodies, RGT? Are we looking good?
Yeah, we're looking good. So I reckon that'll be, we'll start getting stuff out sort of towards the end of March. Everything will be up and ready and raring to go. It's been very busy, but it's good fun. And it's an honour to do it, really, because it's so rewarding that you think people are, putting their hard-earned cash in to help the show keep going and running and all our expenses. So it's, just a big thanks to everyone. And
to everyone that's listening that goes, oh, look out, they've gone monetized. Listen, it's not going to stop the show coming out. No. I made a solemn vow when the show began, it will always be free. It will always be free. Yes, we've had sporadic ads and they will continue and discontinue as our podcast host dictates when these ads arrive and how they get inserted in the shows. But it will always be free. And that's our kind of little way to help cover some of the costs. But this early adopter program and the tiers going forward, it's going to be your way of stamping your love for the show out there and obviously help us continue to grow. Obviously, the Discord is continually growing and we just want to see that continue. We want more like-minded people in there talking about games. It's such an enriching place. So long may that continue.
Definitely, yeah. And it's just, like I say, it's been a pleasure doing them all and getting the stuff done. And it's a new experience for me doing these sorts of things. But yeah, loving it, and the support is brilliant. So
on that note, before I forget, because Bo Beloba, the community manager over on the Discord, he identified 2 members to be inducted into the Unglorious Bar Stewards. Bit of a legacy area of the Discord for long-serving and supporting members of the team or listeners. And I believe he's identified the Gaming Grammars and Ginge as being applicable members into the Inglorious Bar Stewards. If we've missed anyone, or you think that, hang on a minute, I deserve to be in there, let us know. I think going forward, maybe that might be something that's within the sphere of the tiers. We don't know. We're having off-air discussions about how that's going to work and obviously what tiers are going to look like going forward. Like I say, it's not going to change the show. It will still be here for you every single start of your week, Sunday night, get in the car Monday, go for your walk Monday, your run, whatever it is. We'll be there for you. We want to make time to give you this show because you make time to listen to the show. Hopefully we've become part of your day, your routine. And that means, hopefully, a lot to you as much as it means to us. So thank you to everybody that listens. Let's get that out there. To me personally, 207 episodes in, who would have thought we'd be where we are today? Just some random chat with a microphone. All of a sudden, we've got tiers and all sorts of stuff. So it's taken a little bit of getting our heads around, but we value everyone's listenership, and you can get on board for £0, 0 pence. If you're in the cheap seats, if you're a silent but violent, you're not in the Discord, but you've listened to every single episode, and we know there's thousands of you out there that have done this, come forward. Let us meet you and understand you and get to know you, and that's only possible maybe through the Discord or the emails, questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com, or private messages on one of the social medias. X, aka Twitter, seems to be a lot more popular again at the moment, and Instagram maybe not the cool place to be anymore, but we'll keep them running as long as the sites are open. So there's multiple different ways to get in contact. If you want to say to me, George, in episode 12 you made a complete steaming donkey of yourself, I want to know. I want to know. So yeah, plenty in there to talk about. RGT,
Yes.
What's your favourite flavour pot noodle?
Ooh, don't happen very often now, but if I go back, I'd probably say chicken and mushroom.
Are you a pot noodle guy? Because I'm a cup noodle guy.
No, I used to have pot noodles when I was more of a teenager, and then didn't have them for years. And then you got me onto the cup noodles, so I do occasionally like to sample the wares of a noodle in a cup, which is very nice.
It's the ability to drain off the extra water, because I find with a pot noodle, even if you pour up to the line, you end up with an awful lot of slop, like a soup that you end up slurping out the bottom of the cup like a starving tramp. And
sometimes you just don't want all that amount of liquid. Sometimes you just want noodle. If you want noodle soup, you can have noodle soup.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want.
I expect in a pot noodle to get noodle.
Yeah.
Not fragmented little pieces of noodle.
No.
And some
definitely.
soya chicken flavored soy. I mean, no. At least with cup noodle, you get to drain all that slop off and just enjoy the flavour. It's more, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, as far as segues go, going from talking about tiers and supporting the show financially, and again, we're very grateful for that. It's been something that's been bugging me, I'll be honest with you, because I had some noodle in a bowl and it was actually quite nice.
I was wondering where this was going, to be honest.
It's going, I'll tell you where it's going, absolutely nowhere, apart from me being interested in instant noodles, really. Do you remember Coca noodles? They were a bit of a thing, and I don't know, used to get a little bowl, boiling water kind of job. Do you ever have those?
I sometimes have the ones you get in the store called B&M, which has the noodles in a bowl ready. My daughter loves noodles. She eats a lot of noodles, so sometimes I do have those, and they're quite nice.
Are they cup noodles? Is that a cup noodle brand, or is that something else?
No, it's just not an imported brand, I think. I wouldn't even be sure what the brand was, but they're very nice, and they're cheap. So that's always makes them taste better.
A hallmark of quality. I mean, there's a noodle you can trust. It's cheap. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, must shout out Bada Binkster, and I'm going to put images on the socials when I actually get my life in order. And if anyone knows me, probably might be this time 2026. But he sent me a little gift box. I got a pink PS3 Slim off him. You've never seen anything so slick or pretty. As soon as I got it out of the box, I've got a black Slim PS2, but this pink one, the aesthetic, it's just so fresh. I mean, here's me saying here it's fresh. It's a 20-year-old product at this point.
fresh to you. It's fresh to you.
It's fresh to me. Let's get anyway. All that to one side.
I've got to do a shout out. Sorry, Karen. I thought you'd finished. Sorry, Karen. I'll do my shout out.
I'm not cutting your lawn yet, cowboy. He made a video, and what I like about Bada Binkster, ever a fan of the law, it wasn't PG anymore. It was 12 rated.
Ooh,
which is the world we It's the world we skirt now. It's how we represent ourselves.
We do get the odd little swear bomb drop, don't we, on here?
Or I think Elliot did a few swores.
I don't to do a little swear.
I haven't ever swores. We're only allowed one swores per episode, so
I don't think I've swore. I don't think.
You talk a lot of shit, RGT, and I'm going to say that right now.
Yeah.
Episode 207, write it down, get it in your tattoo, hardcore listeners. George dropped the S-bomb. And I'll do
this for editing. Beep here. There we go.
No, we're not. We're edgy, we're dangerous now. We're caught in a new environment. We're moving to the...
I mean, when the listeners see us in real life, I don't think the first two words they think are edgy and dangerous.
To be honest, as I said it, I felt very... Wow. Cornholio. I felt very edgy saying it, I have to admit. I didn't feel safe.
You looked like... I mean, obviously, this is a podcast, so you can't see his face like I can. You did look like a child that swore for the first time in front of his mum, and then
that's how it felt. He didn't feel
little embarrassed grin to see if he'd got away with it. This little
and now I'm thinking, do I go back and edit that out? Have I lost respect? Is this?
You've lost my respect.
Well, don't, because the whole show's just crumbled now, and it's my own fault.
I mean, I don't want to leave that with you, but I'm disappointed if I'm honest.
Okay, look, any gossip from, the LA suburbs or no?
No. I'll do Bobby style. Nope.
Okay, right.
Okay. I've got a shout out there. If I can do a shout out, please.
Yeah, knock yourself out.
I think people who follow me on Instagram probably saw me put this on a story the other day. There's another podcast I listen to, and probably quite a few of you listen to, called Retro Asylum. And there's a guy on there called Steve, who's quite popular on there, but he's also got a band out called The Last Arcade. So if you're into your retro games, you're into your arcade games, you're into 80s pop music, synthwave music, give them a listen, because they are absolutely fantastic. And I'll tell you, this band's going places. Music videos now. Wouldn't surprise me if they go on tour soon.
Does Steve listen? Does Steve listen to the show?
He does.
Well, he better do after that glowing commercial.
No, he does. So So I said to him that I would give him a little shout out, because they are an absolutely fantastic band. So if you like 80s music, synthwave music, listen to them, because they sound like they have got in a time machine from the 80s and come to the present day. Fantastic.
Does he do video game music?
Yeah, I think he done the theme tunes for Retro Asylum, which are awesome as well. So
why don't you get him on the show?
I could do, yeah. I could try. He'd be a great guest to have on, because I do believe he works for Sony as well. So there's a little insight for you. Sony PlayStation.
Why is it not done yet?
Well, he's big time, isn't he?
I guess he is.
Yeah. But okay. So last arcade,
shout out done.
Yeah, go and follow
him. Okay. Right. Well, let's get into it then, because I think we've kept him waiting long enough. Mm-hmm. It's time for me to utter what you've been playing.
That's quite creepy, that one. Sound like a Tales from the Crypt episode.
I can't. It's the consistency in my voice performance that I think is holding me back.
I don't. I think your voice is very consistent.
Okay.
A compliment. Say a compliment.
Okay.
Right. I've been playing obviously more Horizon. I had a lot of time this week, but I have managed to get a few more hours in there, which I think must be close to 50 hours now. I'm still in Frozen Wilds. I'm getting to the end of... Is it Frozen Wilds, the extra bit?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, I can always get muddled. Oh, that's Forbidden West is the second one, isn't it? I always get them muddled. Yeah, Frozen Wilds DLC. I'm getting towards the end of that. I think I'm level 48, coming up for 50. So then I've got like 2 missions in the main game to finish. So I should be powerful enough for that to
easily
finish the game.
Have you consulted with the ability to get your power armor?
No.
Get it.
Right. That's my next mission then.
Nice way of finishing the game, I suppose. You could rock up totally overstatic.
One hit, bang, game done.
That's what I'm
Forbidden
expecting.
West.
Yeah,
One
little flick on its nose, and it rolls over and lets you stroke its belly.
Yeah, it's one of them games where this week, because I have been so busy at that time, I've really been wanting to play it because I've been loving playing it so much. And just like when you get those games, but you have got a busy week, and you're like, I wish I had more time to play it, aching to get back on it. So that's how good that game has been for me. Which is, I never thought I'd say that about Horizon, but yeah, been loving that. So, and then we had a live stream on Tuesday night, which was me and Mrs. RGT on Stardew Valley.
In bed?
Yes, just like John Lennon
and Yoko.
And Yoko.
Are you the John and Yoko of the UCP? Start the conspiracy theories now, listeners.
Oh, yeah.
You've got Mrs. RGT in the background tapping the tambourine and screaming in the microphone, and that's Series 7, that is.
I swear you can see through our Ring doorbells.
It works both ways,
Yeah, that's worried me now. But yeah, we done a live stream, so people seem to enjoy that. We started a little co-op farm and played on that, and that was brilliant fun.
Genuinely think that would go absolutely viral if you set the webcam up at the bottom of your bed and you both stream from your beds.
We could try it. I don't know if you'd want to really see into my bed, but there you go.
Why wouldn't someone want to see you and Mrs. RGT in your nightgowns, doing a co-op farm and then also streaming it to the wider public? It would be
I'm not worried that you want to see it.
Don't take it down this road. We've already used one S-bomb. We're all done. It's PG clean from here on in. I just think it'd be quite cute. It'd be like a Bert and Ernie moment. It would be quite magical.
Bert and Ernie?
Yeah. Like Morecambe and Wise. In your pajamas, in bed, cup of tea, cozy game. Maybe a little bit of nip slip from you, but not from Mrs. RGT.
Wow, I didn't think it'd be long before you went down that route. Well, we'll see how popular the the stream is. Maybe we can do an in bed with the RGTs episode.
When you're a millionaire, just remind me where this idea came from.
I will. I'll shade out the window while you're mowing the lawn.
In orange overalls, bizarrely. I don't know where you get this from, but I'm all in.
Just a fantasy. And then finally, I've finally had to go on.
Is mowing the lawn a euphemism for, manscaping you, or?
Anyway, I've finally been playing Pac-Man.
So it is.
So I've done my score on Pac-Man, but nowhere near.
Is it now that we announce Manscaped as a sponsor?
Yeah, not yet.
What, you got a little bit more growth to go through before you get your kit?
Yeah, I want to give that weed whacker a good old thrashing to see if they work properly. But
I presume it must have been some significant date for you and Mrs. RGT recently, because that's why you probably look like Duncan Good. Well, no, it probably looks like Right Said Fred down there.
Anyway, I've been playing Pac-Man. Steady.
No, one of them from Right Said Fred had hair, didn't he?
Yes. Anyway, just get back on track, please. Oh, my God. Yeah, so I've finally got my Pac-Man score up, which is nowhere near, because you've got Ginge and Tingle Turner, who are smashing it, and Marathon Gaming is up there as well. I mean, these guys on one single life are getting 20,000 points.
Yeah, but they're real gamers.
Yeah, but they're also as well, Ginger's playing with a control pad. Have you tried playing Pac-Man with a control pad? It's awful. How's he getting that score?
He's just doing it in his sleep, isn't he? He's my red-headed stepson.
He's a machine, that lad. I tell you.
I'm proud of him.
Absolutely fantastic.
We had a heart-to-heart on the Discord recently, and I've neglected him. He's coming to the Link Up meetup, so what I might do is get one of those baby carriers, one of those slings, just have him up against my chest, walk around with him.
This show's going downhill quick. I mean, he's bigger than you. That's going to be a challenge.
He can't be bigger than me. He's my child.
He's ripped. You're not going to carry him around Lincoln.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying he's not ripped, but, I never thought of this. Maybe he's going to carry me around in a sling.
This is going. Anyway, what you've been playing, George?
Oh,
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you like video games, podcasts, and reminiscing? I'm actor, video game writer, and total sweetie pie Connor Savage McCabe, and on each episode of Call Me By Your Game, I sit down with a guest for an intimate look at a special game from their past. Did you and your dad beat Spyro the Dragon over the holidays? Or was Halo 4 the one thing that united your roommates during your senior year of college? Stories like these are what Call Me By Your Game is about. From video game content creator Janet Garcia to Hades voice actor Courtney Vinay's, I interview wonderful comedians and game industry friends about these memories. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and maybe someday you'll call me by your game.
well, I got a little bit crazy the other day. Rachel, my girlfriend's never seen Uncharted, so we played through the first one, 30% of the way through the second one.
Wow.
I think that, to be fair, one might be my favourite. And I know everyone's like, oh, how dare you say that? But it's just so throwaway and fun, and that's,
and
to
that's
me,
got that
what
wow
Uncharted
factor,
is.
because that was sort of the first one. You always remember it as the first game.
And they never knew
series.
that they didn't know they might get greenlit for a second game as well. So
No, exactly,
it's
yeah.
kind of standalone-y. And, as soon as you turn on to, you see that the production values are right up there. And obviously the storytelling techniques are absolutely fantastic. The trains, flashbacks, a whole bag of tricks. It's great. But yeah, enjoying playing those again for the millionth time each. But still brings a smile to my face. And, always a little bit of a challenge as well. So that's fun. A little bit more Last of Us Part 2 remake going on.
You've been on a bit of a Naughty Dog.
Yeah, without even thinking about it, to be honest with you. Pulled the VR out the cupboard. Had some family round this week, so we all had to go on kayak, which was just as great as it always was. My dad put the headset on.
Did he really?
Put him in the Australian canyon. He's always resisted. Oh no, I don't think so. And then today, this week, with a bit of peer pressure, put it on, and it was probably one of the most heartwarming things I've seen, because he just he went to a different time and place, and he was just very gently paddling the thing forward. He was looking round at all the detail, and he was just blissed out. It was a beautiful thing to witness, I'll be honest.
My dad's mad on like space travel and the moon, and I keep wanting to get my PSVR, the original one out, and doing that. You can do that moon trip where you just go around the moon, launch off for this, just like a little app thing you can get on there. And I keep meaning to get him into that, but I can't.
It's more like an interactive 3D experience. That I've either got it or I've played it. I think I've got it, and for you or me, I think I'll be honest, it's probably not really what you want. I want Space Shuttle simulated by Virgin on the Amiga at least, and this thing's more like a sort of experience you get in a museum where you're like, that was interesting, but nothing to write home about. But stick your dad in it, and he'd be thinking this is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him in there, because I think he'd love that. It's either that or just fall off a couch and face plant the fireplace. But I'm
trying to think if there's something else. Oh, I'll tell you what I wanted. This is probably a bit for the end of the show, but in the PlayStation Rewards program, I had some points, so I've downloaded Pacific Drive. So I'll be keen to have a go on that later.
I got that on pre-order, and when I first pre-ordered it off Amazon, I didn't really take much notice. And then when I checked again, it said coming out in March 2025, which is now corrected itself to about 2 weeks' time. But I don't know, because that's all.
I also have it pre-ordered on physical, but I couldn't wait.
So I think it's an Amazon thing. It is just delayed on physical to the digital, is it?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because I watched Game Riot do a little bit of a playthrough of that, and I thought this has got George written all over this game, and two,
well, I completely agree. So I'm kind of a little excited to see if it does scratch that itch. It might be one of those never meet your hero things. Everyone's saying, oh, this looks like a proper George game. And then you get into it. Because I'm quite a complicated cat, really. I've seen lots of things myself and games that people have said, oh, this would be right up your street. And I've gone to play it and gone, no, you don't know me. It's not realistic enough, or it's not ridiculous enough, or it's like 1 minute I want realism, the next minute I want ridiculousness. I mean, I'm very hard to please.
Definitely.
Come at me with recommendations, though. Questions at unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. Email us, or you can message me, private message me, or the show on Instagram or Twitter, or you can even, God forbid you join the Discord, get embraced with your brothers, your sisters. Come join the family.
It's a cool place to be.
I would say, knowing what I know, it's time for the Elfwick.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for this?
I think you're right, yeah. I think you need to give it the full beans.
Oh, by the way, there is a Boone theme download which you can use as your ringtone. Bada Binkster got clever, so that's up in the download section. There's also the RGT as a stone statue.
Yeah, don't use that one. That's
for your wallpaper, and a load of classic wallpapers, Stingray wallpapers, classic show wallpapers. So for your phone, if that's even a thing anymore, I feel like I'm advertising something at the back of Max Power magazine circa 1996. But yeah, probably at the bottom with like Assassin's Creed game as well or something, or no, it'd be Need for Speed. And then when you actually download it on your phone, it's just
Java.
Broken Spectrum game. But anyway, let's not keep them waiting any longer. I'll tell you what I've been suffering with this week. Sore throat. I think I'm a bit run down.
That'll make you more boony. You'll be more husky.
I'm trying to address my ever-degrading voice that I've noticed when I've edited the shows. I've gone like, oh, crikey, George, your voice.
Really?
Yeah, it's not as clean as it was. So we're trying the season one mic.
That's more sort of grindy and dirty now. Sexy, your voice.
Yeah, I'm not so keen on that. But then again, it has been, 5 years since the show? No, it can't be, can it? Are we in the 5th year of the show? We are.
Yeah, 5th year of the show, yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, la 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 la. RGT, yeah. He's like the Lone Ranger. Riding on down to bring hidden gems to me. Ooh. That'd be the bit that Donna would do if we were the Beatles.
She's been practicing with a tambourine, so.
If you are John, is OG Tom like that guy who was with the Quarrymen before they became the Beatles?
Yeah. Yeah. We make it big, and then he's taking us to court for licensing rights because he played a tambourine once back in the day.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, thanks for all you've done, OG Tom. RGT just slaps him on the backside, kicks him out the door. Oh, yeah. He's family, you know.
Yeah, I know, but they are. It's business.
Wow. Looks like I will be donning the orange overalls and cutting your grass in LA.
Yeah, don't resist it. It's going to happen. So, we're going to play the guessing game?
Yeah, I feel like my skills, not only in games, are degenerating, but also my knowledge about games seems to be degenerating on a daily basis. So we'll find out. Let's use this as a test for my short or any memory retention at all anymore.
I'm expecting you to get this fairly quick. I'm sure. Well, I say no for a fact you've played it.
Give me the year.
Well, the original game came out in 2009. And there was a remaster in 2015/16. It is by the developer Chair Entertainment.
Oh, whoa. Yes, come on, talk to me. Oh.
I know you'll get this.
Oh, what is it called? You're that guy. It's a side-scroller Metroidvania type game.
By Epic Games. 2.5D action Metroidvania.
Yeah. Oh, what's it called? It's an Xbox. It was probably one of the absolute best Xbox exclusives that they pulled out the arcade program back in the early days. And I actually played the wheels off of it.
Starts with S.
Oh, Shadow Complex.
Yes, well done. Shadow Complex.
Thanks for the kick in the back of the brain, by the way, because we would have been here recording 10-hour episode of me going, it's on the tip of my tongue, RGT. No doubt via a ramble about pot noodle.
Well, I played this for the Shadow Complex remastered version on the PS4. If you haven't heard of this game, it's got a basic story, but it's got a good cast in there. Jason is voiced by Nolan North. His girlfriend in the game, Claire, is Eliza Jane Schneider. And even, I'm expecting you to know this name, the bad guy in this game is Graham McTavish. Who's Graham McTavish, George? You should know.
I don't know, but his last name sounds like the sort of place.
If I said Red Dwarf?
I'm still lost in the weeds thinking that, a McTavish sounds like maybe a Scottish word for a taint.
No, he was Senior Warden Ackerman in Red Dwarf in season 8.
Oh, I don't like Red Dwarf. It's a bit too nerdy for me. I'm not a nerd.
Obviously not, because I would have thought you'd have known that. So a bit disappointed. But anyway, so basically you play as...
I like Red Dwarf. Don't come at me in the comments now. Not now.
He loves it. We often quote Red Dwarf, don't we? Off air. This game...
Where we won't be judged for our nerdiness.
Exactly. That's why I feel a bit of a prat talking about it on here now. Jason and Claire, they're just walking, exploring.
What is it?
One day. What do you mean, what is it? 2.5D action side-scrolling Metroid.
What's a white hole?
Oh, no. So what is it?
I thought you'd be straight on that. If I'd said Camford, you'd have recited the whole script. But I say, what is it after a Red Dwarf mention, and you just
it's
let
a
it
white
gloss
hole,
over
sir.
White hole? Yeah. So instead of pulling time out and matter out of the universe, it pushes it back in. That's why we're experiencing these strange time dilations.
So what is it?
It's a white hole.
Someone punch him out. Right.
Don't you worry. I've seen him on this thing all day. I've never seen him lose his balls down the holes once. He's great at this.
Oh, this is brilliant. We'll have to do a Red Dwarf special. Anyway, Bald Border will be good on that because he's mad on Red Dwarf. Anyway, so you're Jason and Claire. Oh, you're Jason. You're with your girlfriend Claire. You're exploring these caverns. She goes missing. You go looking for her. You discover this underground sort of group that are running this big old, almost like a missile silo underground base. So
what is it?
It's a white hole. It's and then you have to look for your girlfriend, and while you're doing it, you try and stop this group from whatever they're doing. This is written by the comic book writer Peter David, who went on to write a sequel to this in a novel form called Empire. So when you finish this game, you can read on and see what else happened in the story. It's like that. It's quite cleverly done, actually. I mean, the remaster version looks good. I mean, some people say the graphics have aged a bit, but probably have. I was lucky enough to get the physical.
What do they expect?
Yeah, I know. But when you read a few reviews of that, but I like it because you're on that side-scrolling plane, but you can shoot into the background. You'll have guys on bridges and that in the background. You can aim.
Yeah, that's correct. Backwards,
which is quite clever. And you can use your right analog stick for a laser. So you can aim with your right, almost like a twin stick shooter. So you use your right analog stick as a laser, and then you can shoot. It's brilliant fun. The thing I like about it, especially nowadays, a lot of Metroidvanias are quite difficult. There's not a lot of clues as to where to go. You can be wandering around aimlessly looking for a very small thing to, progress. I don't find this is like that. I find this is a very approachable exploration game. I just think for the price and that nowadays, I think it is such a good game to buy for what you get. You get various power-ups and weapons so you can explore the base further. Excuse me. The original game was on the 360, and they remastered 2015, 2016 PC, Xbox One, PS4.
I don't know. Sorry to interrupt, and I don't know if you'll know, but let's say you bought this back in the day on Xbox 360. A loyal supporter of it, and you got it, you played it. Do you get an auto upgrade, or is it a separate game to the original, this remastered job?
I'm not sure. I think if you download it in the day on your Xbox 360 and you've still got that 360, you'll have that game. I think if you buy it now on Xbox Store, you get the remastered version.
Yeah. I just know they do that auto upgrade with a few games, and it'd be nice if that was rewarded through this. But I've got a feeling it's $7.99 and take it or leave it sort of job.
Excuse me, I've got a tickle in my throat. Yeah.
Is it on Games Pass? You're a big proponent of that now. Is it on there?
No, it's on PS Store for $7.99. Xbox Store, it's $11.99.
What?
Yeah. Steam, it's $10.99.
What?
Yeah. So your cheapest place to play this is the PS Store.
This is more confusing than our tier system we're about to.
Yeah, right. Like I say, I've got the physical. I was lucky to have this bought for a present for me because it was done by limited run. So if you wanted the physical for the PS4, which is the only physical version, you'll be lucky to get that under £90 if you wanted that. That's an expensive because that's like number 17 in the early days of limited run.
God.
Yeah. Well, I think it's 17. So
that's the limited run version you've got?
Yeah.
In your hand, you just showed me, for the audio listeners, you showed me what looked like a vanilla PS4 box with Shadow Complex on the front.
Yeah, it's just
and what sounded like a disc inside it. Was there any more to it than that, or is that all you're going to get?
That's all you get. Little manual, and that's it.
Wow.
Just with limited run on it. Yeah. So, and obviously because it was a limited run and that's an older game, it demands a big price nowadays. But yeah, definitely for a digital game, definitely download it, give it a play. Don't think it's anything like Metroid Dread, nothing like that. It's nowhere near that hard. This is more almost a side-scroll and Uncharted. It's got that feel to it with the character.
Actually, do you know what? That's a great description. I think it's got like maybe a slightly harder edge to it than maybe Uncharted as well.
Yeah,
the story feels a bit darker in a way, especially when you first sort of stumble across that cave network. I always remember thinking, crikey, it's a bit nefarious.
And I'm not just saying that because Nolan North's in it. He's literally...
yeah, but you are.
No, maybe a little bit because he's my hero.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
What? You're going to download it now, aren't you?
I can't.
Why?
Shadow Complex Remastered. I've gone on the app. Not available to purchase.
Oh, on my app, it's sure it was $7.99.
It said $7.99 when I went into it, but then I went in to buy it.
Oh, maybe you've already got it. I reckon you've already bought it.
Maybe was it? Do you think it was as part of a...
It might have even been on PS Plus, you know.
I'm wondering if it was. Where's my library?
But yeah, while George looking at that, definitely give it a look. Like I say, it's a pretty basic story. The usual sort of stumble across some bad guys. But it's quite an addictive game. It's quite short. It's not too long. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And it's quite good, cheap fun. I think you got to remember, this game back in the day won over 50 awards, this game. I think it won one of the best games on Xbox Live. So
yeah, and quite deserving as well. So it's not in my library.
Interesting. Well, we can look into that, and then we can update people on Discord. So
yeah, definitely. Because
so Shadow Complex Remastered. There we go.
Okay. I have to admit, even if you're recommending the original, I'd be all for it. And I don't know if it got a physical release on 360. Was it ever part of one of their arcade bundles that they did?
Ooh, that'd be interesting to have a look into. I didn't find any thing on that, but for some reason that rings a bell of me seeing one of them arcade discs with a sort of a triple game sort of thing on it. And
something like that, yeah, because very early in the life cycle, you got Geometry Wars and a couple of other things bundled in on an Xbox Live arcade disc.
Yeah, which I do believe I have that somewhere, but not accessible at the moment. But yeah, I'll have to have a look at that. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that'd be good if you could, because that'd be a good way if you wanted to get a physical copy.
That's why they tune in, to raise questions that they didn't know they needed asking to themselves. Get on the Google, let us know what we're missing. Tell me why I can't download it. I was getting ready to throw a good £8, another £8 at PlayStation, because why not at this point? Ever expand that digital library? Filth. Oh, by the way.
Yes.
Public service announcement. the PlayStation Portal looks like it's been restocked in the UK at least. Co-host Bobby, he's conspicuous by his absence, but he's got his continued sort of health issues going on. So, but he's picked up a Portal and a Steam Deck all in 1 week. Crazy cat. So must have been Bobo week.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I couldn't believe it when he came up with both. I was like, what?
Yeah. Do you need both? I mean, I suppose you kind of do if you really want that. So it'd be interesting to see what he makes of those. Maybe next time we have him on, he can give us a little bit of a. Obviously, we've got the superstar Super Seb. He's a big proponent of the Steam Deck, and Bobby's took that on board and gone and got himself one. I've also been re-researching the Portal. I ended up in a conversation with Bada Binks where I was sort of saying, "Yeah, I'm nearly all in on this now. No doubt I'll get it here, and in the remote location I live in, it will be like playing Bamboozle on CFAX. But you know, one can dream, one can hope. Again, great for sort of share play. When I say share play, i.e., someone's using the big TV, you can carry on doing what you're doing. There is a little bit of naughtiness in there, PlayStation, if you don't mind me saying, with the whole sort of lack of Bluetooth proprietary headphone job. But you know, us poor boys will just plug in a Nokia headset from an old school phone that we've got kicking around.
Yeah, but I've heard some good things about. Well, heard a lot of good things about Steam Deck and Portal itself as well. I've never had a go on one. I don't know anyone that owns one, but quite a few of the reviews, I think, once it's dialed in, looks pretty good.
Yeah,
to have all the haptics and all the extra bump you get with a dual
sense.
I
won't be using mine for online competitive games. I know that for a fact because that's not my cup of tea. Although Helldivers, that's certainly piqued my interest. OG Tom keeps popping in and in the chat and saying to me, what was the last message you sent? He was like, me, you, and RGT, like the Ultimate Fire Team. My answer back to him was, are you on commission? Leave me alone.
I thought he'd be all over that. It's his sort of game, it really.
Yeah, and it generally looks great. And I'm hearing some nice things about it, like you don't need comms, although apparently comms makes it. And what I really dig about it is it just seems to be just a continuation of the gameplay mechanics from the first game, which I've played on Vita to some degree.
Because that was more of a twin-stick shooter, wasn't it? Sort of
like a top-down. But you still had to dial in. You have to remember these sort of button prompts to call in support, call in airstrikes, call in weapon drops.
Oh, you still do that in 2, do you?
You do, yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's a nice touch.
So, and that's what I'm saying. It for all intents and purposes of what I've seen, it seems exactly the same game, except it's obviously a lot better looking and in 3D. So,
and also it's nice for one of them games not to be taking themselves too seriously.
Well, what I would say
well
about
made,
it is,
and it's a bit of a
it's being hailed as this big success, and it is for PlayStation, but it seems to be doing most of its numbers on PC, which, as we get into the news, obviously there's been a lot of talk about exclusives here, exclusives there. Obviously, PlayStation helped fund it, and it's a first-party release technically, but obviously, what with all the news of Xbox multi-platform and all that sort of stuff, and we'll get into that in the news. It was always going to be a storm in a teacup, though, that RGT, if I'm honest with you, and it transpired to be. Well, was it? Let's get into it. It's time for the news. We scour the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, this piece of news is just entitled "Suicide Squad." Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League publisher Warner Brothers has said the game's sales up until now have fallen short of its expectations. What world are they living in? What mock reviews, what feedback from the community made them think that this would do gangbusters? But
they obviously didn't take notice of feedback from the community. No,
shut themselves in an echo chamber and told each other how great it was. But it leaves the company facing a tough year when compared to years past. Comments were made during a financial call where Chief Financial Officer Gunnar Wiedenfels expressed his disappointment. Confirmed sales figures have been communicated by... Do you know what? I've done so well up until this point. Then I thought...
You've done the hard bit.
Confirmed sales figures haven't been communicated by Warner Brothers or Suicide Squad developer Rocksteady, that was pointed out by IGN, is not being played very much on PC platform Steam at the moment. The concurrent player peak for the last 24 hours stands at just 888, which compared to the unexpected success of Helldivers 2 really puts the live service game into perspective. Arrowhead Studios has just increased its server capacity to accommodate a whopping 700,000 players at any one time. Rocksteady is committed to at least 1 year of post-launch support on Suicide Squad, but when hardly anybody's playing it in the first place, it's hard not to wonder whether the team will bother seeing it through. Warner Brothers has gone from having the best-selling game of 2023 in Hogwarts Legacy to the seemingly the failure of Suicide Squad. What will come next? RGT Suicide Squad. Signposted years ago, we did an episode... God, it feels like OG Tom was on the episode, so it's maybe 2019, 2020 when this thing was announced during some form of a Comic Con, and we saw footage, and it did provoke a reaction then, and has done since. Obviously, the gameplay reveal of the traversal mechanics, the guns. Obviously, I do find the fake outrage of like, oh, they killed Superman. The game's called Kill the Justice League. I mean, I don't want to put spoilers out there, but that was probably inevitable. But yeah, so some real noise around the game, some what I call internet fake noise. I don't know why people be so upset about that. If you don't want to kill the Justice League, don't play the game. And, you know, what did you expect? But this game has had a rough ride. To be fair to it, reviews haven't been damning. People say that they're enjoying it, but to me, it just smells a bit like Avengers, Marvel's Avengers at the start of this generation. PS4/PS5 crossover game, same probably for Xbox. What do you think's gone on with this Suicide Squad? Is it just that games as a service sound good on paper to a corporation who want to extract even more revenue out your back pocket, or what? What's going on here, RGT?
To me, this whiffs of a game that was made by the corporation but not wanted to be made by the developers themselves. It's almost like they've been backed in a corner to make this, and it doesn't really... I know game developers can make an array of games, but you do tend to find developers are good at doing certain games, and Rocksteady are good at doing certain games. And one
thing I want to just stop you for a moment there, because Rocksteady by name is something that Warner Brothers acquired, but the key players in making the Arkham games, for want of a better word, which they're probably most known for, I think they've got a game, is it Kill Switch? Or something similar on PS2? Was a game that they launched where it was like a shield shooter, if you remember. That's a hidden gem on PS2.
Yeah, I can't think what the name is.
Let us know in the comments if you remember the name. We don't like to Google while we're doing the show. We like to shoot from the hip, so no doubt I'm probably wrong, but it was something along those lines. But mostly known for the Arkham series. Those guys have left. So it's a bit like when Microsoft acquired Rare. Most of the talent left, and then you're left with a name and a bit of a catalogue. And what were we to expect from this now fragmented team, really? It's technically their first game, and it was a big ask.
Yeah, and I think it is, a bit like, what was the other one called you said in...
Marvel Avengers?
Marvel Avengers, sorry. It's a bit like that game. The trailers get a bit damned upon. So by the time the game comes out, everyone's a bit hard on it anyway. And within 3, 4, 5, 6 months, the game just tends to gently fade away. No one's really talking about it. You don't see a lot about it online. And I feel this is about the same. I mean, I know a mate had this pre-ordered because he loves all that, Suicide Squad. He's really into it, figures the lot. So he was, determined to get this. And I think he played.
Does he have a girlfriend?
Yeah, he's married. So he... Well, I said he was my friend. That's probably killed that. But he's he played it the first couple of days, and then I've got figures.
Don't get upset.
No, we won't.
I just know it's super nerdy and a little bit sort of
Yeah.
like, oh, wow. I think the first time that maybe my gaming room was witnessed, it was a little bit like, oh, this has killed the romance.
Yeah. But yeah, he played it for the first couple of days and then that's faded away. I don't think he's played it since. I didn't think he said it was a bad game, but it's not something where you think, oh, this is amazing, I need to keep playing it. It's something you have a quick go on, think that's all right, and
I think that's
you
weird.
Move on to the next game.
They obviously when they're developing these things, they look through the lens of Fortnite and see all the revenue and think, oh, if we can only do 1% of that, and we might be getting somewhere. And like, yeah, that makes sense. Brave to have a go, I suppose. But then you've got on the flip side a game with probably nowhere near the budget, Helldivers, doing rip-roaring numbers on PC. It's we're entering a strange realm.
It's the hit and miss category is very close. It's very close. It's a fine line between, and you tend to find things like Helldivers 2 seem, and even Baldur's Gate 3 to a certain extent, they seem to do way over expectation.
But I think if it's good, people are going to throw their money behind it. If it's not, and they've already paid $70 on the way in the door, asking them to do another 30 on skins and stuff and create an ecosystem or a world they want to spend time in and show those skins off is less and less likely if they're not enjoying playing the game.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You've got to have that hook factor. You've got to hook people into loving that game. Call of Duty done it for years. And I know these are paid games, but you've got to have that gameplay that's so good and a live service game that's so good that people just want to keep spending, want to keep playing, want to keep trying new things.
I mean, Fortnite is Ready Player One. Every single franchise you can imagine pretty much is in there and represented. You can play as anybody, Batman, Kratos, Spider-Man, whatever. And that keeps locking people in. And, it rose. Who'd have thought Fortnite really would have come to anything when PUBG was cleaning up in the Battle Royale space? They had it in as a throwaway thing, cobbled together, really. And then all of a sudden, it's the biggest thing since sliced bread. And it takes some understanding, I suppose, but maybe we need to do an episode on this RGT, a deep dive.
Yeah, that's weird because a live service game, if you launch with any optimism or people not quite thinking that's that good, you're nearly dead in the water. You need to launch really good, and then you need to keep supplying fresh updates, keeping people hooked in. And a lot of companies struggle to do that. Look
at Sony, right? They bring out Foam Stars. That game looked to be the one they were betting on, and it who's talking about that? Exactly. Have you even? No, I've not even expressed an interest in looking at it. No. Yet Helldivers, I had it on Vita, and I suppose by pro rata of that, I had it on PS4, didn't play it on there. Mild interest, really, in the scheme of things, to be fair to it, the first game. To develop a sequel seems brave, but then out of nowhere, it's doing gangbusters, and you think, who'd have thought that? Who'd have thought that would even be a game people would want to play? Yeah, it's weird, and I think going back to Sony and Foam Stars, it's more of, Splatoon's done well. Let's jump on that. But I think if you played Splatoon, you're not going to play Foam Stars. I think but you need Splatoon, to be... Did Splatoon do well because the Wii U didn't really have access to other games, and therefore if you're trapped on Wii U, it seems like a pretty fun way of pretending you're playing one of the bigger boys' games. And obviously when it came to Switch, scenario. No, I think you're probably right, yeah. Has it done well because it's, or for all argument's sake, it's a well put together piece of kit? But has it done well because it's amazingly spectacular at everything that it does? Or has it done well because it's picked up the crumbs from the bigger boys' table? Yeah, I think it's a genre of game that wasn't really there on a Nintendo system. So if you're all in on Nintendo, that's your option to play, online and a live service game. So I think that's their version of it. I don't think for PlayStation, I mean, if Splatoon was multi-format, would people be playing Splatoon on the PlayStation? Which is basically what Foam Stars is. I don't think so myself, but I think there'd be some core fans of it, but it's certain I just do not believe it'd be setting the charts. I mean, that's Square Enix as well, isn't it?
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a side ramble for them, isn't it?
Well, it's certainly a big bet on something that, and fair play, people. It's easy for us to sit here and say, "Oh, yeah, but that game's not great." But people have dedicated years of their lives to drawing the sprites, to making the menus pretty, to making the gameplay and the controls work and it be tight and enjoyable. And they've play tested it and having fun with it. And they've no doubt had third parties come into the studio and give them response. I'm struggling with this. Okay, we'll change that. Blah blah blah. It's been play tested by not only internal staff, external sort of testers too have come in and given their thoughts on it. Just average Joes off the street will be signed up to come and try the game and feedback on it. And it's survived all of that. I suppose when you get sort of 70% through a game's development, you're all in. You kind of got to launch it to recoup some of your losses. If or at the best hope break even.
Yeah, no, you're right.
What's going on with this next bit of news?
Hi-Fi Rush doesn't rush to Switch. Nintendo's recent partner showcase locked in 2 Xbox games for the Switch. But what about those Hi-Fi Rush rumours? According to Insider Gaming, the rhythm-based action game might actually be targeting a release on the Switch too. So a possible announcement could be months out. Here's exactly what the source had to say. It's currently unclear if Hi-Fi Rush will be making its way to the Switch or either, but sources have suggested that the game will be coming to Switch 2 rather than the original Switch, so it could be a few more months before an official announcement. When these rumours originally surfaced, questions were raised about whether or not the rhythm-based gameplay would be compromised on Switch, so release on the system's rumoured successor could make sense. A Hi-Fi Rush determined earlier this month also seemingly uncovered evidence of platform-exclusive T-shirts for other versions of the game. Keep in mind the PlayStation release has now been officially confirmed. The 2 Xbox games already announced for the Switch include Grounded and Pentiment. Pentiment is available on the Switch eShop and a physical release on the way, and Grounded will follow in April.
A couple of thoughts. Grounded deserves way more attention than it's had to this point. I think that it's wonderful, and I've enjoyed some time on it on Series S and X, and thought that it was.
I've still never tried it yet.
So get it on the Games Pass, get it downloaded. I think you'll have a little bit of fun with that. Pentiment seems to be something that makes sense for the Switch. I did raise an eyebrow about Hi-Fi Rush because how dare we think that a game that was pioneered for the Series S and X would even run on the Switch? No disrespect, but it's a next-gen, cutting-edge next-gen title. It may not look it because of its cell shading, but to automatically assume that's going to get dumped on Switch, I think is it's a bit much, if I'm honest with you. And I
think people were saying that because it looks like a Switch game, not necessarily in actual technical specs would it run on a Switch.
I mean, Grounded looks like it's been grounded. It's quite the pretty game normally, and like I say, it deserves the extra players for sure. And obviously, Sea of Thieves coming to PlayStation as well, which again I think deserves a bigger player base. Again.
I think that was strange because that game really launched at a whimper, but it seems to have got more popular as the years have gone on.
I feel like it's Sony secured exclusivity for No Man's Sky, and then obviously over the year it grinded out the updates and became something more. Then obviously it launched on everything, and at that point in time I always enjoyed the experience. You can go back, and I've always stuck by launch version No Man's Sky and found something in there I could enjoy. To be honest, it feels like No Man's Sky almost felt like this era's Pacific Drive, but Pacific Drive feels like it's nailed all its bits before it gets out the gate, whereas No Man's Sky promised a bit more and didn't deliver. Pacific Drive has been quite quiet about what it might offer, and it's basically a roguelike driving game with Fortnite kind of aesthetic, with Fortnite, chase to the center type gameplay loop. We get distracted. Hi-Fi Rush, great game. And then obviously this, maybe the last 2 weeks, we've seen some chaos out there, and due to shows and guests and things, we've not really covered it in detail. And thankfully, You know, we didn't get suckered in because there was
got a bit
awful
out of control, didn't it?
It got way out of control. Everything got blown, I would say, out of proportion. Is it the start of something a lot bigger for Xbox? Well, yeah, I think it is. It's the realization that you've bought companies based on revenue of what they're trading on every single system, and then asking them to only release on one and expecting the balance sheet to look like it did 2 years ago. It's not going to happen. So how are we going to fix this? We've got a loan from Uncle Bill Gates for, by the time you put all the acquisitions together, knocking on for 90 billion plus. And they had was it a 30-year plan to recoup that money? That's awfully brave, but I don't really think that corporate Xbox has got the patience for that. So how are we going to earn that back almost instantaneously? We're going to have to release these games everywhere. Well, that undermines what you're doing with Games Pass. Yeah. And I think that's where the messaging got away from them a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
And does that mean there isn't going to be an Xbox? No, of course it doesn't. I mean, they announced that they've got big things in that space. They want the next Xbox to be a jaw-dropping biggest leap we've ever seen in a generation. I don't quite know what that looks like, considering we went from PS1 to PS2, which to me, that's going to take some beating, that leap. To think that they want to eclipse that level. I just don't know. And as gamers, you know, we seem to say 1 minute we want the best graphical fidelity, but then we want the best graphical fidelity at 4K 120 hertz. And it's like, well, that's not going to happen. There has to be a compromise somewhere. So one part of the camp is screaming, I want graphical fidelity. And we're all saying, oh, we're getting his PS4, you know, upgrades and things like that. Or there's nothing here that couldn't run on PS4. Well, there is lots of things that get a patch that wouldn't run on PS4, like Horizon Forbidden West. You can get it on PS4, but the particle effects are gone, and it feels a lot more a blander world for it. You play it on PS5, and it makes your eyes bleed. So I don't know. We're in a very strange world at the moment. You know, lots of things.
Well, I think as well.
Places.
If Xbox are releasing this new system, then try and remember that your hardware is only as good as your software. And I mean, this generation has been very bleak with software. So you need to back the system up.
As we said off air, PlayStation should not be excluded from this conversation. Where are their exclusives?
Exactly. I agree with you. So talking new consoles, support the consoles you got, guys. You know, because at the moment it's very bleak. And just, you know, unfortunately to say, the one that does keep knocking out exclusives and big games and constantly coming out of games is Nintendo. It might be old hardware, but you get new games to play quite regularly.
Absolutely.
You know, and PlayStation started quite strong, but they've faded away. They've concentrated.
Did they start strong?
Well, all right, started stronger out of the two, I think. Did your Ratchet and Clanks, your Miles Morales? I know it was on PS4, but you had your
you got to discount that immediately.
What is that?
It's PS4.
Oh, it is, yeah. But it was a new game to play if you had a PS5, put it that way.
But you could have played on your PS4 if you didn't upgrade.
Yeah.
I think we need to draw a line, and we need to actually have a count of what actually is a PS5 exclusive. And I think the list is pretty thin. You keep propping out Ratchet and Clank, but you don't seem to come up with many others. Demon's Souls remake. Remake.
Yeah, had a few remakes. You know, you got your Last of Us games.
1 and 2, milked.
Uncharted
again.
Collection, yeah.
Milked again.
Forbidden West follow-up.
But not exclusive to PS5?
No. So, but and this is...
Returnal?
Yeah, Returnal. On the spot, I can't think of any more, if I'm honest.
I think you're about there, mate.
But then that goes to both parties. So I find this very insulting. They're talking of a new system. There's a lot of people spent a lot of money on consoles. Forget new systems. Support the systems you've got.
I don't want to sound controversial here, mate, but I think that because of the ease of development for these consoles and graphic fidelity and or chasing frames per second, we can already see that these consoles are falling behind.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean,
Because of the architecture, they don't scream like a Boeing jet on Heathrow with a full load of obese passengers.
No.
Like the older systems. They're super quiet. But I think they might be sweating.
Maybe, but that still doesn't stop them making games. You can still make games, whether how graphically strong they are. I mean, both companies have, a lot of IPs that people would buy the games for, and it's sparse. And whether we are moving to this live service, if this is the changing point to these live service games that people just play 1 or 2 games a year, online, then that's worrying for me. Because I love my big single player games. We both do. We love our big adventures. We love our own worlds.
They've got way more data than we have, and they maybe see players invested in games that they don't have a hat in the ring for. And they can see a really big slice of the pie that they're chasing behind the scenes. We're like, oh yeah, PlayStation's all about the big story games, and okay, fair enough. But that maybe doesn't bring them the revenue. We look at the development costs, 250 million a game, and it's like, oh yeah, actually, how many do we need to sell to break even here, let alone make some profit? And things start to get very, very muddy.
And I think it's also, I think sometimes that, I know you were saying that maybe the technology's reached a limit. I think sometimes the technology's maybe too strong because these companies are taking 3-4 years to make a game. Well, if you've only got a 7-year life cycle, you're not going to get, you're not going to get many games out in that life cycle before you're then trying to get an early dev kit for the next system. So it's obviously a lot of factors in there for that, but it pains me when there's talk of PS6 or the new Xbox. You're just thinking, just hold on a minute. Let's just, let's start making some hardware, please. Software, sorry, excuse me. Let's just start making some games.
I think they're about there on making the hardware now, but that was also a bit of a close run thing as well when they launched. And I think that's what's kind of, people are only now feeling like the groundswell of stock and maybe finances are allowing them to get on board. I mean, stories are being made about this, but is it any different to where the PS4 was in this life cycle when suddenly the Slim came out and we started to see really games that defined that era only really coming out then, 3 and some odd years into the life cycle? It's not too different now, but we're all jumping up and down saying, where's my exclusives? But PS3 to PS4 had to roll a lot harder out the gate because PS3 was a bit of a dead end in, as much as I love the PS3, it was a bit of a dead end in terms of hardware because that put them into a dead end in terms of what it can do and what can be transferred from it to your new system. So PS4, they did well. It was a great time to really go for the throat because everyone was building digital libraries at that point. And I think when it's like I've got an iPhone. I like the user settings of it. I know how to navigate my way around it. I also have a Samsung. I can't work it. I don't understand it. And the iPhone, I've got Apple Music. I've bought albums. I've bought TV shows. For me to divorce myself from that ecosystem now, it's almost technically impossible. I don't know if I could. I could do it, but I'll be leaving behind technically thousands of pounds worth of stuff that I would then have to flush down the toilet.
Locked in.
And it's almost like the PlayStation and the Xbox have locked in the users they've got with their library. But obviously the runaway success of the PS4 means they locked more users into their library. So when you come to PS5, you've got that comfort blanket of like, well, I've got all these games. We don't necessarily play them. We had Elliot on last week talking about the illusion of choice. Wow, look at all this 250 games in my digital library. Yeah, when was the last time you played that? Well, yeah, I don't know. I think I got it on PSN and never really touched it. Right, okay. Great digital library, George. Oh, yeah. So we're locked in, but we're not locked in. But we want the security of thinking that we've got something to play on it when we get it. So we kind of all now settled down in our camps. Obviously, there's a few of us that have got everything, and we're very lucky to do that. But if you're a teenager writing your father a Christmas letter, you've got to throw your weight down on one system. And to be honest, as a teenager, I'll probably get Games Pass and an Xbox.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I think I think someone who's a casual gamer at the moment and was coming into gaming and said to me, Tom, you've got a Series X, you've got a Switch, you've got a PS5. What do I go for? I'd go Switch all day. There's a vast library. There's a lot of IPs. It's good for gaming on the go, as we say, George.
The Switch is great, but I just don't forget there's a little bit of playground ego involved in your purchase. And the Switch don't look sexy.
No, but if you're not interested in that, you're not interested in 4K ray tracing 60 frames per second, you just want good games, there's your library. I mean, there's no coincidence. I mean, I was late at getting a Series X. I've had my Series X coming up for a year, which I've played the odd Xbox exclusive on. I'm predominantly PS5, and I got my PS5 and Switch about the same time. Now, it was always PS5 for the occasional Switch game. That graph has changed rapidly. The PS5 has been coming down. The Switch has got a lot more play, to the extent where I put a lot of hours in on my Switch because there's so many games that come out for it that I want to play. And
my playtime on the Switch peaked, and then some PS5 games that came out that I wanted to play, and I was playing on the PS4 Pro as well at Rachel's, and it's kind of pulled me back into the Sony ecosystem a little bit. And I keep looking at the Switch thinking, oh, yeah, I ought to get on that. I ought to go check out those new Nintendo Switch Online games. And then it's like, oh, no, I'll just play Uncharted tonight. You know, and the Switch has a place like the Portal does, and maybe the Steam Deck when you're watching a bit of something on the TV that's throwaway. And you can also, you know, grind out a game that maybe doesn't require sound, or, you know, for me, that'd be Wrestling Empire. But
I mean, I predominantly play my Switch on the big TV. That's plugged in the same. Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I play it very little in handheld, even though I've got them new Hori grips. I play it very little in handheld. And I've got
Mrs. RGT, if you're listening, veto any new grips or anything like that. Tell him he's being an idiot and put the money towards feeding you and your family.
Well, don't go too far. But yeah, I always play it nearly all the time. Play it docked. Because I love the games on the big screen, and I think there's plenty of big exclusives or plenty of big games that I haven't played before that I pick up on the Switch. And that has an added bonus that you can play it and then just carry on playing it when you take the Switch with you. And I think as the PS5 is really thinned, it's getting slower and slower with games. It has been for quite a while. That's peaked with me with the Switch, and I tend to play more and more on that. And I think that's the way, to me, this gen has gone, I think.
Well, last bit of news. It's titled Know Me First. Earlier this week, it was announced that Obsidian's superb Pentiment was crossing over from being an Xbox exclusive to joining the PS5 and Nintendo Switch consoles, and so far that decision seems to have gone down pretty well. However, what's not going down well is how Obsidian is marketing the new physical versions in terms of these releases, as a social media post yesterday was criticised for prioritising the other two systems rather than the Xbox. You can go see the image online. The Xbox version was pushed to the back, and this didn't go unnoticed. Gabe on Twitter, he says, Jesus. Don't know why he's asking the Son of God, aka the Prophet Jesus, to come down. But he says, you guys can't even put the Xbox version first. You're a first-party studio. Aru14 on Twitter said, or X, whatever you cool kids call it, Xbox version in the back, no physical when it came to Xbox, but now it's on PS5, it's got a physical release. Give me a break. We're the most abused fan base. Protein Plus on Twitter, on X, Twitter, call it what you like, make sure the Xbox One is well hidden at the back. We second-class Xbox citizens don't deserve better. You could argue that some people are overreacting a bit here, especially considering Limited Run put the Xbox version first in their marketing material, but you can also understand why it's a bad look to be publishing materials along these lines. Obsidian is a first-party Xbox studio at the end of the day, and you wouldn't know it based on this ad. Anyway, we're probably going to keep seeing criticism like this as time goes on. There's also been some discussion about the lack of Xbox Game Studios logo on the PlayStation and Nintendo versions, for example. And as the mighty Uncle Phil Spencer mentioned recently, Team Xbox will be learning a lot from these multi-platform releases. So as that wave of news crashes, there was a lot of noise, a lot of flotsam and jetsam, crash on the shore. There was actually some grip to the rumours. The initial leak was these 4 games, basically, but it transpires that a load of more stuff got pulled out of the weeds. And I don't think we've heard the end of it yet. We've still had no real official confirmation that the Xbox exclusives that people are kind of eyeing, Starfield, Indiana Jones, it's not been a flat no from Big Uncle Phil. But in terms of kicking your fan base, obviously we've talked at length about how physical games aren't really as popular as they were, but Xbox severely lacking shelf space anywhere you can get retail games. Series X and S branded exclusive. You go in, little Tommy wants a game. You've bought him a Series S or X for Christmas. You go in and everything seems to be Xbox One. And I'm confused as a parent. I'm confused as a child. I'm confused as a first-time consumer. We've talked about these cross-gen releases, but PS5, it's got the white label on the front. It says PS5. As Granny Smith goes in to get little Timmy his game for his PS5, she picks it up off the shelf. She knows what it is. She smells what it is. She takes it home. As for some of these not even getting physical releases, it must be hard to have been an Xbox gamer. I had an original Xbox when it launched, got the 360 launch day. I got burnt with all of that and wanted a bit of a different scene for many different reasons, and obviously moved across to predominantly play on PlayStation. But back in the day, I used to quite be proud of my physical collection. Games Pass has kind of stopped that, but it's also stopped their penetration in the retail market, RGT. What do you think about this?
Yeah, it's a strange one because it's almost that Phil Spencer and Xbox are pushing for this more digital library. They've said they want to go more digital, but from the reactions of some of the actual Xbox, predominantly Xbox users, it seems that they don't. So it's and we've spoke about this off air many a times when we're going into game or we're going into shops and you've got your and I mean, yes, the PS5 wall is exactly like what PS4 wall was at this same time, but you've still got a big selection of PS5 games, a massive selection of PS4 games, and then you've got this little row with half a dozen Series X games on, which says to me they are trying to push you more into that Games Pass. But I'm still thinking at the moment,
but trying
to bottleneck people into digital rather than doing it when it's ready to go, because I think there's still a market to sell games, and they could be making money from games.
They could be. I mean, let's say they market a game,
releases.
Physical release, 70 quid, and it was easy to access, and you could go get that big tart you're excited about. That's over half a year of Games Pass subscriptions.
Yeah.
But you get it day one on Games Pass, so why are you chasing a physical release?
It's not everyone wants to have Games Pass. I know majority of people who have Xbox will, but also people still
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and it's a no-brainer, but also people who buy physical games sometimes like to trade in. They like to get the money back on a game. They like to buy second-hand games.
The sort of open goal to me is, and don't forget, social media is very sculpted to what you look at.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
But I like seeing people post up games. And that has lost a lot of airspace because what do you show? The Games Pass menu? I mean, it's great. It's a great advert. But someone who collects Nintendo Switch games does a stack of 10 games and it gets 400,000 likes. I don't think the Games Pass menu is going to get that. Because you can put, I don't know, you put your little Funko Pomp character next to your Nintendo stack, or you put your little Funko Pomp of Aloy next to a Horizon limited edition box set against a white wall and throw some brown leaves at it, snap the picture, boom, get all David Bailey, roll around, slap a filter on it, stick it up, and you got 500,000 likes.
No, it's true. That's very true.
We talked about this when we were talking about the show's social media channels. If we go back through the photos on the gram, when I've actually gone out there and gone David Bailey and took shots of games in the wild or as a collection, they're very popular. If I do even if we've had an absolutely gangbusters downloaded episode and we put the episode up like we do every week on social media, very flat in terms of its likability.
Yeah.
To me, this seems like this is all part of the problem, and I don't know. Xbox are very ahead of the game a lot of the time. They see the future coming, but do they change lanes too soon?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they're almost, like I said before, trying to bottleneck you into the digital market by almost cutting out the physical side when there is actually still a physical market there.
Mm.
I mean, if you looked at, for instance, I mean, I'm sure if they looked at data of PS5 physical sales to their digital sales, I know it's a bit of a different kettle of fish, but they're probably still making big bank off that. So there's still a market there for them to get back. And like I've said to you before, you've got whatever there is, 34, 40 million Games Pass subscribers. If you're making a new game at 150 million, you need quite a new injection of subscribers to get your cash back on that game when you're putting it on day and date.
You do.
Now, if you do 2 or 3 games a year, you're then looking, 500 million to get that back. If you're only gaining a few 100,000 subscribers for that game, are you going to then start affecting how
And
good the games
I would
are?
like
Is
to
the
see the
budget going to go?
stats as well. Are people kind of casual Xbox players that don't have Games Pass per se, but when a new game comes out that they're interested in, Starfield as an example, would be a tentpole title that everyone in the industry was interested in. I think it's an interesting game. I don't think it quite hit the mark, but it certainly had quite a lot of loyal Bethesda fanboys, me included, sort of like, oh, crikey, this looks interesting. I've lost my train of thought now.
Are you thinking of sales because it's gone on Games Pass?
Oh, that's it. And how many of those people who wanted to try it out went, oh, yeah, I can get it for £1 this month. I'll try it out. Yeah. If it's not for me, I haven't really lost out. But must just remember to unsubscribe. And obviously they do. And that's like, oh, crikey. You paid £1 towards the development of Starfield to play it. Admittedly, your playtime within that month will be limited. I can't see many. Well, if you were dedicated, you could finish it, and they're savvy. But how long before you can get your next £1 subscription? Maybe you're walled off from it then. But I would love. We're never going to get it, but it would be really nice to get some meaty. Because you can crunch. We've done this before, and I know a lot of people in the Discord. We fired things forward and backwards. Oh, Games Pass is viable, and then I've looked and thought, well, Games Pass isn't viable. And you look at PlayStation Premium. Oh, this is viable, and it's not viable. It's maybe viable for them if they don't do day and date, day one releases. But Games Pass needs probably another. It needs another 3 times what it's got for this to work. But it doesn't feel like they've got the strategy to grind to that number. With the way that they've got their games coming out. And if PlayStation were in this camp as well, even with the however many consoles they've sold, I don't know if they could make it work either day and date. So the Netflix of games, subscription services, they're very, very consumer friendly. But consumer friendly doesn't really prop up your corporate profits. And if there's no corporate profits, these businesses... Yeah, it's allied to Microsoft. Yes, it's allied to Sony. They're much larger organisations, but they can't stomach this forever.
No, I think Games Pass is viable, just maybe not viable now. So, but how long do you keep funding? And obviously, the hierarchy at Microsoft at the moment, obviously, are now saying, well, you need to start making a bit of bank and you need to start putting these onto other systems. And going back to this Pentiment is Pentiment, just a quick question, is that going day and date on Games Pass?
It's already out on Games Pass.
So are they putting the other versions first because they're going to get physical sales from it?
Yeah, I mean, as insulting as it is to the loyal Xbox users over the time, they see an advert for a physical version that they probably wanted, and their one's at the back and the PlayStation Switch ones are at the front. But Obsidian are probably thinking, well, we've had about as much as we're going to grind out in terms of penetration from this.
Exactly,
so we'll have it at the back and we'll have these other 2 at the front. I think Switch was at the front, possibly from memory. Again, it's probably on the physical case as well of the Switch is slimmer, so it fits aesthetically better at the front. But also these are the 2 systems that they're leading on that they want to sell the physical copies on because they've never sold to these users before. So all of a sudden it's Obsidian are opening up their window like they could Outer Worlds as an example, which went on everything, including Switch. So all of a sudden they can realise money that way. And the same again, a Pentiment is a game that, deserves the eyes on it. And I think, primarily suits Switch very well. And I think it will do some good numbers on there for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I feel like we've been almost a gaming news podcast this week, RGT, which admittedly I tried to take us on a side round of Pot Noodle. Probably took around the houses a little bit with the early adopters package and all that. But,
With
push your
handbags
glasses
back on
up,
course, haven't we?
put your pork pie on. I don't mean the meat and pastry delicatessen. I mean your hat, your journalistic hat on. You've walked out of here like the Piers Morgan of the UCP.
Wow. I'm not. Is that okay?
Is that a compliment, Mumsy? Oh
Yeah.
God, sorry. No, you're like the Cook Report.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm on board with
while we're here at the back
Yes.
end of the news and all that sort of stuff,
that. Yes.
I must just say, sometimes I look at the download stats for the show and my jaw is on the floor. Recently, my jaw is on the floor because we've been in the top 10 in Mexico. Believe. So I just want to thank everybody in Mexico for your listens, your support. We do well all over the world. Mexico surprised me, I'll be honest.
I've never thought my Suffolk tones would be being played out in Mexico. That's unbelievable.
I don't even know how I speak or what I say anymore, but Mexico, thank you. Thank you to everywhere in Europe that listens. Obviously, we do really well in Holland, do really well in Germany, obviously in the UK and the United States. And then, everywhere around the world, we get downloads everywhere, obviously Australia, but I'm talking more the places where you wouldn't expect, where English isn't the first language. And Mexico's one of those. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, yeah.
And welcome to the team. If you want to get in the Discord, we're going to let you know other ways you can interact with the show. RGT.
Yes.
Did we miss anything, dear listener? Do you have an opinion or take on the news that we missed? If so, RGT, how would they get in contact with us and be involved?
You can send your questions to questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. You can DM us on Instagram or Twitter, or you can follow us. We're all on the socials. You've got the Unofficial Controller Podcast on Instagram. I'm Richard Gamer Thomas, RGT on Instagram. Bobby's on there, the Chronicles of a Gamer. Seb is on there with the, I think it's the Pro Nerd Report and Single Player Podcast. You can follow us all on there, chat to us on there. Or you can jump in on the community corrections, of which we have one this week, which was, I've been pulled up with a long correction this week. I'm in trouble.
What? Hang on a minute.
I'm in trouble this week, and I'm in trouble with the big guy.
Who's the big guy?
Fat Zangief. 7 foot tall and ripped. He is gonna, yeah. So I need to apologise.
I tell you what, someone I wouldn't want a haymaker off, and it would be Fat Zangief, aka Simon, our community winner of the Fantasy League, came on a few episodes back and joined our Fantasy League, as well as participating in the Community Champions League again, Fantasy League again.
Shall I?
What's his beef?
Well, this came up after last week's show, and he said, just been listening to the latest podcast, and I'm absolutely flabbergasted at what just entered my ear holes. One of my heroes, a god amongst gamers, RGT, has just uttered one of the most egregious faux pas anyone in the retro community can ever make. As the new CEO of the UCP, this flabbergasts me a bit, I cannot allow this to go unchallenged. Whilst Tom was regaling us upon his amusing Master System and anecdote, he referred to Alex Kidd as Alex the Kid.
You did?
Yeah, I did as well, and I knew I'd done it. And as soon as I'd done it, I thought Fat Zangief's going to tear me a new one. And he has. This is the equivalent of the world's leading heart surgeon leaving multiple medical instruments inside a patient's chest cavity. See me in my office first thing tomorrow for an immediate performance review. So I followed up with my reply, which I hope he has taken my apology. And I knew as soon as I dropped that bomb, Zangief will hang me out to dry. I can only apologise, and my behaviour hasn't gone unnoticed by the UCP boardroom. I've been punished by having to hoover up all the Lambert and Butler stub ends out of Stingray's Nissan Bluebird. So I hope that is enough punishment for you, Zangief, and I apologise profusely.
No doubt, after a news-heavy investigative episode that we've propped out, people are going to come at us with stats and all sorts, and we welcome it. You know, questions at unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. As RGT says, you can find us all on Instagram. You can find our socials. You can message the show on there. You can find us on X or Twitter as well, and you can direct messages there or tag us in stuff or whatever you want to do. Or if that's not enough, you want to come into the community correction section of the Discord and put us right. Either which way, we're open for an education. And as I always say, those that can are involved in the game industry and game. Those that can't, podcast. True story, sadly.
Definitely.
What have you heard around the village? Anything about the Ray recently, or no?
No, why? What you heard?
Nothing. No. I noticed that he didn't change the script properly, so he needs to check the dates that these games apply for. It'd be that.
It's
the one thing that he does, and he's not done it properly. So,
oh dear, that's his old typewriter he uses.
I'm thinking that he's not helping the show anymore, Ray. I'm thinking we should sack him.
Really?
Yeah. Clean the show up, go full corporate, get rid of Ray, all the law, bin it, come back next week.
Let's ask the listeners. Do we get rid of Ray?
Well, I've threatened to hang him a couple of times and they always say no, but you know what? Maybe ban him from the show, have Wayne on for a bit instead.
Could do. I mean, you know, he might be old enough now to... I mean, he'd have to come on his bike with a trailer. He obviously can't.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm down with that.
Yeah, he's got his rally striker and a little trailer on the back, so he can.
Yeah, and he's a bit more he's a bit more down with the kids, isn't he? You know, yeah. He's not very woke, is Ray, and I'm a little bit nervous about how that presents the show going forward. In this sort of more sort of open and embracing world, is Ray an anchor to the past that's holding the show back?
Maybe. I mean, he's not really with it, is he? I mean, he's got a Def Leppard denim jacket. I mean, who knows who Def Leppard are nowadays, apart from me and you, but the younger audience won't.
Probably just think it's animal abuse.
Yeah, might be.
Look at that sicko walking around mocking an ill leopard.
Yeah, exactly. So you go. Yeah, he's not. Maybe he's just not there anymore. I feel a bit upset.
Why?
Poor Ray.
Poor Ray. You're never going to get me cutting your grass in LA if we keep Ray around.
Well, we could actually combine the two. If we get rid of Ray, then when you are cutting my grass, you dress as Ray. You just need to grow a mullet.
Am I holding the show back? Am I Ray?
No, you're not holding the show back. You're the linchpin.
Do we recruit a replacement for me and I just slip off into the sunset?
Yeah, okay.
Who are you going for? That Steve guy you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, I mean, the celebrity list in my phone's quite long now, so...
Yeah, you and Ashens, Elliot Cole, Steve from whatever it was. Retro Allies or some other drivel you came up with. What's it called?
Some big names in that phone book now. So, I mean, to be fair, you're probably on a bit of a tightrope, but never mind. We'll go with the Ray thing first and see how it goes.
If I had my way, if I could, be so fortuitous to request my replacement to be maybe Mike Rouse. Sega head. He's not doing the YouTube so much anymore, so maybe he could take over my place.
We'd never replace you. You know it. You're the voice of the UCP. Take you away, there's no UCP.
Oh, there is. It just sounds a bit different.
No, we don't want to take that away. Who's going to sing Boom?
I stumbled in the news. 207 episodes.
I stumble in the news every week.
I know. Yeah. Oh, one thing before we beckon Ode Ray up the drive.
Yes.
Do we? There's a meetup in Lincoln this coming weekend.
Yes.
If you're in that, that's almost technically the spiritual home of the show. Okay.
Definitely.
If you're in the area and you think, oh, crikey, these guys, I would actually quite like to meet this person who's been serenading me to sleep, probably quite effectively, to be fair, for the last 5 years.
I get to my hidden gem section and they're out like a light.
Oof, done. I think that as soon as RGT year hits, they're out. So it's not even you. If you want to get involved, obviously we don't, maybe the pre-qualifier is join the Discord, mentioning in the general nonsense main chat area that you're interested, and then we can add you to the private message.
Yeah, definitely.
So you can come in that way. It's probably not an open invite, but we will be gallivanting around Lincoln City Centre and the arcade club thing on the outskirts. So
looking forward to that.
We'll be there or thereabouts. Are you bringing all the merchandise so we can leave it in the toilets and things there, like we do?
Yeah, we can bring some bits and pieces along, can't we? So
yeah, no doubt you'll be signing people's babies and stuff at the door or whatever weird stuff that you do.
I've just found it easier now. I've hired some teenagers to sign it all for me. I could bring it all along, all pre-signed, because I can't sit there for hours signing hundreds of things. It's just easier if I bring it all pre-signed, and then we can just chuck them out. There you go. There's your signed stuff.
Wow. How you've changed.
The price of fame. So
£2.84.
I'd say that's been generous for me. No, we'll bring some bits and pieces. So.
Okay, well, he's here. He's banging down at the gate. So it's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingray's boot. What's nestled between some counterfeit nappers in a dodgy copy of Battlefriend Door this week. These are the new release highlights for the week February 26th to March 3rd, 2024. Listeners, these are out on digital or physical, or will be by the time this podcast in your feed, but could be region dependent. Spring stop. Wow. RGT.
Yes.
I want to cut to you. How are you seeing the Ray this week?
Well, Stingray and Wayne are both dressed as copies of Pentiment. Stingray is the PS5 version. Wayne is a little Switch version. I can't see anywhere on there where it says Xbox Studios. Anywhere. Oh, hang on. Ray showed me. He's took his shoe off. Oh, there's a little sticker in the bottom of his shoe that just says Xbox Studios right at the bottom. That's the only place you can see it. I suppose they have labelled it, but that's all you can see. But yeah, and then Wayne is just this minuscule little Switch version, almost the size just of a Switch card that you pop in your Switch. Enjoy that.
Wow. Okay.
Always on point. He's always on point.
I'm seeing him this week as a pantomime horse. Full-size Sting at the front, obviously in the horse attire, but at the back, like a tiny little back end in these little legs. Obviously, Wayne's doing his best. But yeah, it's presenting me to... It looks... You know when a dog does a poo?
Oh, God, yeah.
That's basically like what I'm seeing. It almost looks like a horse sat down in the sitting position, but obviously it's still walking forward. So it just looks like it's dragging its backside, like a dog with worms. That's what I'm seeing.
Poor Wayne, he's too small for that job. He must be holding around the back to his knees.
I don't know what he's doing in there. Stings took the head off. Okay. Stings took the head off.
Yeah.
And because of 12 rated, he's having a cigarette. He's laying up the side of the Bluebird. He's kicked the back bumper and the boot's popped open. Nice. I'm looking in here and I see Now, I do remember this in the Fantasy League episode. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, PC, PS5, Xbox Series X, February 28. I must say, I've got I've been a bit run down this week, and I've been trying not to talk too much, although that doesn't sort of segue well into this show because I've got like an ulcer on the bottom of my tongue, and it's actually causing me to be in a little bit of pain, I'll be honest. So I'm out here putting myself through it for you listeners. I hope you appreciate that, but also forgive me for my, well, to be fair, whether I've got an ulcer or not, I make a complete dog's breakfast of the script and myself, so shouldn't have said out, really. Guide two brothers on an epic journey of discovery, loss, adventure, and mystery, remade for the latest generation of graphics, performance, and gameplay. Play in single-player mode or local co-op with a friend. This is one journey you will never forget.
After our conversation about lack of games as well, there isn't quite a lot of remake and remasters on this list, George.
I know. And what have we had recently? Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 remake. Yeah, they've gone down really well, but
this is hammering the point home, this, isn't it? So I'll carry on the trend with Star Wars: The Dark Forces remaster, PC, PS5, Xbox Series X. Notice I emphasised remaster. February 28th. The evil empire is currently creating a doomsday army behind a veil of secrecy. However, no match for the Rebel Alliance's Covert Operations Division. Your mission is to infiltrate the Empire and put an end to their plans for terror and domination.
Now, I've always liked that game. And what they've done with the cutscenes and things looks like it's like a Doom clone, Star Wars.
Yeah, I was going to say that's first-person game, isn't it? Yes, I don't think
it has now been rendered very dead, thanks to the new movies, Disney been in the back catalogue. This would be what they call a legend story, because this is a story of getting the plans for the Death Star, which has obviously been superseded by Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what this was. Okay.
So, well, message in, tell me, have I got it wrong? I thought it was a Star Wars nerd. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I got my Kirks mixed up with my Solos and I don't really know what's going on.
Rogue One would have been a good game if they'd have made one.
That's the sort of game we would have got in the PS2 era, and it would have been very different to what you expected it to be.
Well, that's my dreams, Dash. Carry on.
Just saying. Just saying. Be a bro shooter or some dribble. Yeah, I mean, mild interest for that. I had it on the original PlayStation back in the day. I don't know. Is this fondly remembered more as much as Tomb Raider, or am I?
I don't know.
I can't imagine it is. It's going to sell okay, isn't it? Let's face facts. Why is it not on Switch?
That'll probably be like the others and just get the original dumped on the Switch, won't it? Like what we were playing.
Well, I did see on Steam Store actually that Dark Forces Remasters listed at whatever price it was, and then also original Star Wars Dark Forces is also listed for sale as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was the more expensive?
A remaster.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a great deal in it, if I'm honest with you, which staggering. Anyway, what you got for us next, Ray? Oh my God, let me rub the ash off this. It's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, brand new Bigger Boys game, PS5.
Is this a remake or remaster? Oh yeah, it is, isn't it?
Well, yes and no.
Expanded. Let's say expanded.
It's like Final Fantasy VII, the multiverse, isn't it? It's Earth 1 compared to Earth 0, I suppose. I mean, they call it remake. They call it not. What's that song? What they call it? Barely. What's that song? Message in on the Discord if you know. Hold this near Google, see if it brings it up. Let's give it the ultimate test.
Yeah.
Do you know the song I'm on about, RGT?
I do know the song. I do know the song you're on about.
What is it called?
I can't think. I do know the one.
Someone message in and let me know. Anyway.
That won't Girls Aloud, is it?
They call it Betty.
Anyway, Final Fantasy.
So that's 207. It's a retrospective on the Unofficial Controller podcast. I stumbled across it, probably 5 years ago. 207 was the last episode. I think that song by George killed it. But, you know, they had a good run while it lasted. There's some fun stuff, some lore if you wanted to get into it. It's quite a bizarre podcast. Don't know why it didn't take off, but I know what killed it, and it was that. It comes out February 29th. Probably said that. I don't even know anymore. The unknown journey continues after escaping the dystopian city of Midgar. Cloud and his friends set out on a journey across the planet. New adventures await in a vibrant and vast world. Sprint across grassy plains on a chocobo and explore expansive environments.
Yes. That would be my mummy.
That's your mummy?
Yeah.
Have you played and finished the original remake?
No.
What about the original Final Fantasy VII?
I haven't played the original, no. I'm playing...
You need to back up a little bit, cowboy. Okay.
Just let me finish the sentence, God's sake. So my brother-in-law's helping me through it with all the spells and bits because the combat's quite new to me, but I am actually enjoying it. So
remake?
Yes, I have started it.
You didn't mention that at the top of the show, you little snake.
Well, no, because I mentioned it on the show when I played it the other week that you weren't on. Thank you. So I'll go back through my notes. Let me see. Let's see. I do believe I mentioned this.
With Rowan. You mentioned it in the episode of Rowan.
Yeah, it's Rowan.
Which you sent me a Dog's Breakfast as an episode to edit and put out because you're too big for that.
There we go. Yeah. I don't edit my own stuff. Jeez. My God. I'll be signing my own merch next.
Oh, let's see if we can hire an editor. Maybe make this sound good. RG, what's your VHS retro pick out the boot?
No, I couldn't remember if I've had this or not.
No, it doesn't matter anymore.
But I'm going to go with this one because my mate's been away this week, and this is his favourite film, and I've missed him. So this is Point Break, his favourite film. I think I might have had this, but the original.
3 times. This will be your third time having it.
Not the remake, the original, which is, it's quite on point with all the remakes being thrashed about this week. But yeah, so original Point Break, Patrick Swayze. That's what I'm going to watch. VHS.
Seeing as we're a little bit edgy now, I've pulled out a copy of Showgirls.
Steady on, fella. Oh, my God. Are you sure Mumsy's out? Oh, God.
There's only like 30 seconds of the movie that you'd watch if you were below a certain age, and after that, I don't know why you'd be watching it. But yeah, Showgirls.
Says that a man from experience with Showgirls.
Luckily, I'm taking the DVD because the Village copy of this basically just goes to, white noise.
Oh, is it like in one certain area? It gets all crackly where it's just been paused and rewound too much.
Yeah, so the DVD negates that. So I'm taking the DVD.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, I think retrospectively, quite an interesting film. Probably wrapped up in the furor scene, and you got to wonder the furor scene that last out of Saved by the Bell, which was a show that was about high school students. This was the main reason why people were going to go watch this or pick it up on VHS or watch it on Sky or whatever it was. And it's like, ooh, would that be acceptable now?
I don't know if it would be.
Now, the film has some interesting dynamics, and I'd love to get lost in the weeds with Johan or Harvey Retro about what this accomplishes as a movie versus, what he accomplished with the violence type angle for RoboCop, and this is definitely the sex angle for that. So, yeah, I don't know as I find it a great film, but I do think it achieves some good things along the way. So, yeah, I'm picking this up. I don't know why. I feel highbrow. I feel like the sort of guy that listens to jazz right now.
I can see you in a jazz calf, just gently clicking your fingers with a beret on and
a beret.
Yeah, and a gouwa cigarette between your fingers.
Yeah.
That's you. That all over. That is.
What am I drinking?
I'll probably go with a just slightly warmed bourbon. No, actually cognac. It's got to be cognac, isn't it? Nice cognac.
Yeah. Or is brandy a little bit too edgy, or?
Brandy's the cheaper version. Go cognac. That's the proper drink.
Swilling it round in a glass while some heady man plucks all over a double bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've just got a book open. world poetry.
Okay. Well,
T-shirt idea.
Wow. Well, we've had a lot of people playing around with AI art, haven't we?
That's going to appear on the Discord.
So Saul needs to type
in a
that.
jazz club.
George in a jazz club with a cognac and a Galois.
I'm looking forward to this one.
I look down at the floor and I see a diminutive foot severed from a body, blood everywhere, and in that foot is nailed a horseshoe, and the actual nails are sticking up through this foot.
Wow.
So poor old Wayne's lost a limb, basically. But, you know, they've gone. Don't know where they were. Don't know when we'll see him again. Well, we know when we'll see him again next episode, unless the community says ditch the Ray, which...
it's over to you guys.
One wonders if Ray actually translates that well in Mexico.
It's a tough sell.
What are you hoping to play?
Obviously more Horizon. I've got a load of games. Why do I say it like this? I always get a load of games.
Well, one thing, let's just dust this off. We're all sat here saying, I want more. I'm sat here like a kid at the dinner table, bashing my knife and fork up and down, saying, I want more games, I want more games. Yet I'm sat on a stack of games that I've demanded that I haven't played.
I've done exactly the same. I bought like 6 sealed games this week.
What's going on with us as gamers? Because we dissect all this and it transpires that we're guilty by association in saying we want more games, we haven't finished the games. Are they all just giving us breathing space to finish the games that we demanded already?
That'd be a good selling point if they use that. Because
be brave.
Especially me and you have got a backlog which could circle the world twice. So
my backlog dates back to Atari 2600.
That's pretty substantial, if I'm honest.
There's more games in the library, both of us are guilty of this, than we've probably got time to play before we die. Yet we demand more.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a problem. It's a massive problem. Behind the 5 sealed or 6 sealed games I bought this week.
I buy Pacific Drive off of the store and then I order it physical as well.
Yeah, that's another level there.
Do one.
I don't double dip.
It was Sony's fault that I got into this in the first place because, no, it was Amazon's fault that I got into this in the first place because I pre-ordered Forbidden West Collector's Edition. It didn't turn up on their release because they're just useless at times.
Hang on.
But I really wanted to play it on launch day, so I downloaded it digitally, and the next day it turned up, and I thought, oh, wow, I've still got this sealed. This is cool.
I think that is what you tell yourself. I think you bought the special edition and didn't want to open that special edition, so you bought the digital edition, but told yourself, because it was a couple of days late, you were doing it because you wanted to play on launch day. Am I right?
Well, they did it to me again with Gran Turismo. Mumsy.
Am I right here, or is this because someone
this guy anymore? I feel a bit bullied.
Is it because you
with the new mic? My old season 1 mic? Does it pick the off mic bits off when I talk to Mumsy back here, or can you hear me, Mumsy? Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Can the Seal Master Elliot hear me? Oh, we've had a little bit of controversy in the Discord because Elliot thought. Elliot, aka Seal Master, thought we kept talking about him in the episode where we talked to Elliot Cole from Retro Future, and I had to remind him that his name's now the Seal Master in the lore.
Definitely.
I see him like the Dungeon Master from the cartoon. Except, like, I don't know.
Oh, bless him.
He's the Seal Master.
Oh, he's a legend.
Maybe that's something that someone should put in the AI.
What, Elliot and his sealed games?
But he looks like the Dungeon Master from the 80s cartoon, but instead of being the Dungeon Master, he's the Sealed Games Master. See what it brings up.
That'll be something with the creature, the seals, I would imagine.
Let's see.
I'm not sure if I want to see that.
I want to. AI art is the future.
It's the future. Garlic bread.
So what is it?
It's a white hole.
What is it?
People are going to think we've lost the plot.
Oh, we've had a thoroughly good gaming chat. So anything else that you're hoping to play? Seeing as I railroaded the conversation again, apologies for that, everybody.
That's all right. If I can get the time with brother-in-law this week, because he works a lot of hours, we're going to try and finish Halo 3. Maybe start 4. And
you're not going to slip in a little bit over ODST first, or
no? Because I didn't quite. I did ask a few people: should I just play them as release, or do I have to play them in a special order? So they've said play 3 and play 4, and then you can, because it was ODST. That was a sort of a spin-off one, a side story sort of.
Isn't it the first time that you meet? I do believe ODST. Correct me if I'm wrong, Halo nerds, but there was this really great piece of either artwork or a diorama built around the time of ODST or Halo 3, possibly, where it was like all these sort of almost painted miniatures in this sort of firefight, and they were getting absolutely swamped by the Covenant. And I do believe ODST, and again, I'm ready to be corrected here, is like the first time that they meet the Covenant, and it was a bit of a, I don't want to ruin it because I think the story is quite interesting for people who might not have played it. So I think that would be something of interest. But I always kind of like this Halo Reach as well, isn't there? And
I think
ODST.
it's Halo Reach the prequel, isn't it?
Is that the one it is? Is Halo Reach the prequel?
I think so.
I've left myself wide open. I'm hoping the Halo nerds will come at me. I mean, I've definitely played the original on original Xbox and the sequel. Loved Wheels Off 3, and that was kind of me, maxed out with it really. So yeah, I'm willing to be corrected. Community corrections, questions at officialcontrollerpodcast.com. DM me, whatever you want to do. I'm here for you.
So yeah,
I'm ready to be educated. RGT.
Yes, yeah, me too. Because I'm very new to Halo, but loving it. So yeah, hopefully play some more of that. And I'd like to say one of my games I bought this week was Tales of Vesperia remake, funnily enough, for the Switch.
What the hell's wrong with you, kid? Huh? Look at you.
All right, calm down, Dad.
No,
Jeez.
Look at your state you got yourself in. You're amassing all these JRPGs.
Yeah.
You're covering yourself in them.
Exactly.
You don't even like them.
I'm learning to like them, and I'm putting my money where my mouth is and trying to like them. I'm going for it.
You've got some hours of content to get through there, Sunbeam, haven't you? Crikey.
Yeah, I have, yeah. No, I'm not going to say that next bit. I was going to say something, you'll crucify me if I say it.
No, tell me it.
I haven't even started Tales of Vesperia. I watched a little bit of someone doing a gameplay. I thought, it looks quite interesting. And it was 2-player. And because my brother-in-law being an absolute master at JRPGs, I was like, I need to get on that with him in a co-op capacity. So he said, yes, he'll play through it with me. And then I found myself on eBay watching every version of Tales on sale, from the very first one to the Tales of Arise, which I do have on the Xbox.
I mean, you've got, if memory serves, you've got Ni no Kuni, you've got Ni no Kuni 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Quite like JRPGs in the fact that they kind of keep the momentum of the battles moving. So it's not so much, click and forget sort of scenario. There's interactivity.
Yeah.
Are you going to revisit those, or are they dead to you now?
Maybe. I put quite a few hours in Ni no Kuni 2. Haven't played the first one yet, ironically.
So good.
Yeah. My brother-in-law, he put 150 hours in Ni no Kuni 2. He loved that on the PS4.
I really hope, I pray that my Ni no Kuni PS3 cloud is saved to the cloud, because I'm thinking of airlifting my launch PS3 to the doctor to get it repaired. But something tells me that this is not going to end well for that. Even the hard drive, the SSD that's in it, is probably going to end up going in my Slim now, and that's going to get wiped. And if that's gone, it's all gone.
Never know. Keep your fingers crossed. You don't know.
I'm hoping it's the PSU. If it's not the power supply unit,
Fingers
it's a
crossed.
dirty reflow in it, and I don't know. I don't hold out a lot of confidence, to be honest with you.
They're
But
not
they're
the most
getting
successful
so
things, reflows.
rare, and they're getting like hen's teeth, aren't they? PS3 launch models. I mean, people talk about the Red Ring of Death. As soon as the YOLOT kicks in, you're done.
Yeah,
Whereas
exactly.
the Red Ring of Death is not exactly a death sentence, but the yellow light of death is.
It's
terminal.
Yeah, definitely. You might be able to get a little bit more life out for a few more months, but it ain't gonna last long. At very best. Anyway, what are you hoping to play then, George?
Pacific Drive. Want to finish my playthrough of Last of Us Part 2. Probably want to see if I can squeeze out. There's such quick plays, but I'm 30% of the way into Uncharted 2 already, so maybe get that finished this week, start 3. All on the trek towards 4 and Lost Legacy, I suppose, just to see the full evolution of the series, for Rachel to see that. And yeah, I've got other stuff on the go, really, that I need to stop. I used to be a game at a time guy. Start all the way through, dedicate and finish. Now, I've got Yakuza burning a hole in my back pocket. I've got Uncharted 2 burning a hole in my back pocket. I've got Last of Us Part 2 burning a hole in my back pocket. I've got Pacific Drive burning a hole in my back pocket. And I used to just settle down, pick a game, play it from start to finish, one and done it, happy days, move on to the next thing. And that might be a retro curiosity, or it might be something off the PS3, or maybe a smaller indie title, or whatever it is. And I just seem to be sort of everywhere. And it's
hard to dedicate, isn't it? Because you don't feel that love for the game when you're splitting it across too many games. I
you
know
don't.
That feeling.
You don't.
I'm very much like that, and that's why I've sort of been. I know I've been playing 2 or 3 different games, but it's just been mainly.
I need to have a bit of a cleanse. I started Fallout. I mean, it's nice to have some games, when I'm on my own, gaming on my own. Fallout 4 has been, quite a thing to go to. Next time I have a weekend to myself, no kids or whatever, I'll play that. But I can't remember where I got to with it. I don't know what's going on with it anymore. Yes. So why am I going back to it? What am I doing with it? And it's going to be probably 4 hours of wondering where I am and where I got to, and then 2 hours of enjoying it, and then the weekend's over. So
yeah, I know what you mean. It's tough if you've got too many on the go. Sometimes that's nice too. Sometimes it's nice when you have shorter games and you can get through it in a couple of weeks. Maybe a week sometimes, because you feel like you've played all you need to play and you've give that game justice.
Or a weekend.
Yeah, or weekend. Yeah, if you get the time and you can do a blast for a game, that always feels good.
Okay. Anything else? Anything you want to pass on to the listeners? Any sort of Discords, housekeeping, or?
Just again, thanks to Digital Monkery for doing the challenge accepted. We'll have the score table for the Pac-Man challenge next week, because as of time of recording, it hasn't quite finished that challenge. So we'll do the final score table on that next week. Thanks to everyone again. I know we keep saying it. Them early adopters jumped on.
Mr. and Mrs. Digital Monkery. Yeah. I want to see evidence that Mrs. Digital Monkery is playing this, and Mr. Digital Monkery isn't just using his wife's username to have another second stab at the league.
Wow.
I've been casting a lot of shade on him recently, but I'm quite enjoying the engagement, because I spotted a rat that he'd been playing offline.
Oh, these are.
Ooh. And now I'm wondering, then again,
these are vicious rumours you're starting here.
I'm only mucking about. I know none of it's true.
You're horrible.
I just know he'll be there saying, how dare you bring my bloody, honour into question.
Yeah, that will be. 2 hours after the show's out.
He's typing this now as I'm saying, I don't bring your honour into question.
Well, I'll have you know, George. Bless him. No, but yeah, brilliant for him doing that. And like I said, thanks to all the early adopters over that month we ran that. That's brilliant. All the people that have jumped on board, very much appreciated.
Very much.
And just thanks to the awesome Discord community as always. And welcome to the new member of the Discord. We've got 2 new members. We have Joseph who's joined.
Yeah.
He's very engaging, great guy. Loves his Xbox 360, PS3. And also, we've got little Joey, who's a new member of Rose Space Monk's family, the little dog. So little Joey is who's been on Discord already. So that's another new little member in the Unglorious Pets section. Have you not seen that, George?
No.
Oh, really? Oh,
I tell you what.
Oh, that's shocking.
Let me lift the veil on the Discord a little bit, because
Oh no.
No, don't be like this.
Is this going to be a long ramble or?
No. I'm just telling you the places where I stalk the Discord, places where you may be able to attract my attention specifically. General nonsense, I love. I love having a little sniff in what you've been playing. I occasionally pop in screenshots and clips because I do like to see some digital photography, but it's not somewhere like I go all the time. I love listening to Stingray because I love seeing the games that people have picked up. You know, people have been out to CEX or done a Facebook pickup or whatever, and they put it in there, and I'm like, oh yeah, a little bit of jealousy or voyeurism, I suppose. I'm always sniffing around a little bit of Stingray Swap Shop because I like to see what people are wanting to trade or see if it's of interest to me. I'm always hoping that a 3DO for £1 is going to pop up in there, but never seems to. I'll look in community corrections just as a fact of making sure we haven't slipped up too badly. I look through veiled fingers at challenge accepted only because I know I'm not good enough to actually submit a score in there. So I just look at what everyone else can do. You find me in the Downton Abbey section literally all on my own. Although, Mrs. Digital Monkery says she's into it now. But apart from a declaration of, I'll watch this, nothing more. I want to get lost in the weeds talking about characters. I want to get lost in the weeds talking about, and anyone who wants to talk to me about the lore of Downton Abbey, I'm all ears. How pivotal is Kamal
any other
Pamuk?
sections you look at? Or
Do you mind if I finish? Or
well, I really feared we had a Downton Abbey rant coming there, and I just tried to save the listeners a bit.
And then the other stuff, maybe I don't look in as much. Like I don't tend to post pictures of my pets, and I know pets are important to people. And every now and then I look in there, and there's a picture of your dog grimacing at the screen, and I can almost hear it saying, "Help me." I'll be honest.
Wow. Just wow.
Bow wow.
Anyway, end the show.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's about it, really. I love the Discord, but I've got my own little places that I kind of go. It's a little bit, what I want to look at, really. And I say the same to everyone. You don't need to go in and be an active member if you just want to peruse. Those channels I just mentioned are a great place to go and while away a bus journey, that's for sure.
Oh, definitely. It is, people put on there when they're out for meals, what they're having. You even get when...
the meal
Bings.
one's a bit, it makes me hungry. And I eat too much.
I'll tell you what my new favourite section is. Bada Binkster does a non-uniform day at work on a Friday, and every week he wears a different football shirt. And they call it Football Shirt Friday. I just love to see what different football shirt he's going to wear every week.
What section's that in?
I think.
Look at all these hidden subgenres of the show I don't even know about.
Oh, were you not invited to that one? Oh, sorry. So I didn't mean to say that one. That might have been just our little secret one.
Is it Wish You Were Here?
No, I think he might just put it in general nonsense. He just always puts on his what his different football shirt he's going to wear on a Friday. I love to see he's got diff shirts from all around the world. Not trying to guess what teams they are. You look at it, George is looking through now.
I'm desperately trying to find a picture of Bada Binkster with his legs spread eagled and a Chelsea shirt. Do you remember?
I don't know where the spread eagled legs come from. I've never mentioned that.
Can't help myself, can I? Can't help myself.
You can't.
He's officiated the 12 label rating for us now, so that's what I'm taking home from this.
Okay, fair enough.
Is it? Have we exhausted all avenues to conversation?
Very much so.
I wonder how far through someone's journey to work or working day we've got them.
I don't know. Depends how far away they work.
You think someone got to Friday, getting home Friday just as we're finishing this as a pull up on the drive?
Maybe, yeah.
That's the dream.
I mean, if someone lives, a good hour away from work, they might have done it in a one there and back.
Yeah, that's my fear. I always want to be there supporting people. And I don't know. And again, engages email, Discord, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is. Do you want longer shows or less long shows? What gets your juices flowing? And we will cater the show to suit your needs. Because we appreciate you listening. And what can we give you in return? We need to support you. We do, don't we, really?
Oh, definitely.
And I want a load of questions really to read out next week about pot noodles and cup noodles versus bagged noodles versus homemade noodles.
Wow. You definitely have been playing the cues, haven't you?
I haven't been playing enough of it. But these are the questions I want to get into. It's not just all about gaming. We need to broaden our horizons more. We need to get talking to people about, RGT, I need some relationship advice.
Wow, I'm not the person to be asking.
You are. You're the main man. George, I'm thinking about buying a hamster. Are you thinking roto stack or are you thinking just an old school metal cage? And then we can have that conversation like roto stack.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yes.
Have you been drinking today?
I knocked a Pritt stick over, and as I picked it up, I sniffed it.
That answers everything. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, that's my query solved.
Every time you've spoken, your eyes just seem to emit rainbows.
Yeah, so just remember, like, in a couple of hours' time, you're not going to remember doing this show, and when you do listen back, you're going to be quite shocked. Okay, just remember that. All right. So,
what's the most shocking thing I've said, just to help me come to terms?
I don't think shocking is in what you've said. I mean, more of your side rambles.
What's the most egregious side ramble?
Noodles.
I had some noodles on Thursday dinner.
Mm-hmm.
It was of interest to me. Once we got the early adopter stuff out of the way, I needed to know what was normal noodle consumption techniques.
Now you're offering our services out for advice on relationships and buying a hamster. I mean, did you actually eat the Pritt stick or just smell it?
I wondered why I had lockjaw when the episode started.
You did look like someone coming out at 7 o'clock in the morning from a 1990s rave. So
I've got a video for my own personal preference of you coming out of Milton Keynes Helter Skelter 25. You and Donna
those were the days.
Glow sticks. I don't think you've been night fishing, so I don't know why you're brandishing those. And you've both got a high vis on.
Yeah.
You're the max power rave era, though. You've rocked up, Yeah,
Dreamscape, Helter Skelter, Creamfields, everywhere. Yeah, we were there. Clacton Pier, 94, Buston Shapes, Blazers.
I would love to get in a time machine, travel back to you, hyping the PS1 while chewing the inside of your lip out.
Tiffany's, Great Yarmouth, Prodigy, live.
Where do you see yourself in the future? You wouldn't be called Retro Gamer Thomas then, either. You'd be Current Gamer Thomas.
Yeah. CRT. Oh no, CGT. Current Gamer Thomas. I wish it was CRT.
If you want to hear RGT get rebranded as Current Gamer Thomas, because let's face it, you've got all the retro games, but you're playing PS5 right now. So you're Current Gamer Thomas.
Yeah, very true. You are correct.
So if you want a rebrand, communicate, email me.
Yeah, I haven't actually asked for a rebrand. You've just decided I'm having one.
There's lots of things I never asked for that I have to do for you. I
once attended a rave in 1994. Showing my age now as well.
Well,
I'll tell everyone I'm 28.
George, trim my toenails. Okay, I'll get the clippers. No, do it with your teeth. Okay.
Where's this going?
Well, I just thought I'd out you while we're here.
Wow. Contractually, you're not supposed to talk about it on air.
You know what? If we don't get the Americans on by next week, I'll out both of them as well.
Yeah, well, they're on their final written warning, so. I scared
Executive
myself,
producer going all in on the.
I scared myself a bit then. I got all a bit authoritative then.
Well, I like it. But before you get a little bit too crazy,
Yes.
I think that's all we have time for this week, listeners. Always thank you for your time. I look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. Remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial control. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, everyone. See you, RGT.
Laters.